So I know this story is a little dated, but we need to address the elephant in the room. And by elephant, I mean the former rapper in the big house. Because unless you've been living under a rock, people are well aware that Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested, and his homes in California and Miami were raided. And there's a whole spew of controversy that's exploded out of this over the allegations, over the awareness of his well-known parties that existed in Hollywood. And the more you look into this, the more it shows more perspective of the whole scenario than just P. Diddy, than just this guy who is the kind of crazy, sexualized fiend that he is. It goes further beyond that. So this is from New York Magazine, and it says everything we know about Diddy's alleged freak-offs. Those are the alleged parties that is well known in Hollywood and actually well known in national television, as you're about to see later on, because they did promo pieces. MTV and other networks commercialize this. They are well aware of Sean P. Diddy Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy, and these parties that would involve in abuse and assault and other horrendous things that went on in the spotlight here. So it says Sean Diddy Combs was arrested by federal agents in Manhattan on Monday after being indicted by a grand jury on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs has pled not guilty and is being held without bail at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Allegations of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse have been piling up against Combs since late last year when Cassandra Ventura filed a civil suit against Combs, her ex-boyfriend. Combs settled the case out of court the day after it was filed, but since then, 9 more people have come forward with their own allegations of abuse against the rapper. In federal indictment, which was unsealed on Tuesday, the prosecution argues that Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. According to the indictment, Combs created a criminal enterprise, the members of which engaged or attempted to engage in sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment itself doesn't go into many specifics. Those will likely come out during the trial, but there are some disturbing details included by the prosecution. According to the indictment, so this is going into the parties now. According to the indictment, Combs would use his power to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into his orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. He would then force them to engage in freak-offs with male sex workers, which are described in the indictment as elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. According to prosecutors, freak-offs will last days, during which Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to the victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Combs and his victims allegedly receive IV fluids after freak-offs to recover from the physical exertion and drug abuse. The details mirrored those by Ventura in the civil complaint she filed against Combs last year. Ventura stated that she was given ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol in excessive amounts, which allowed her to disassociate while engaging in sex acts with sex workers at Combs' direction. Eventually, Ventura claimed she was tasked with facilitating hiring the sex workers and find the location for Combs' freakouts. In March, Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami were raided. Prosecutors say that the federal agency's freak-off supplies in the process, which include drugs and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Well, at least it wasn't seed oil. In Ventura's complaint, she alleged that Combs' assistants were tasked with stocking hotel rooms with baby oil and Astroglide before freak-offs. She claimed that during freak-offs, Combs would instruct her to pour excess amounts of oil over herself. Throughout the indictment, the prosecution claims that Combs was regularly physically abusive towards his victims. They claim that Combs assaulted women by striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. Also claimed that he hit, kicked, and threw objects at and dragged victims at times by their hair. Earlier this year, security footage of Combs physically assaulting Ventura in the hallway of a Los Angeles hotel was released by CNN. In the footage, you could see him throwing a vase at her, kicking her, and dragging her down the hallway. In her lawsuit, Ventura had described a similar event. Now, unfortunately, I can't show that footage because YouTube would take down the channel or demonetize, so go look for it for yourself. But that is a horrific scene to witness. That what CNN put out there. Prosecutors also alleged that firearms were used to threaten Combs' victims. The indictment claims that not only did Combs' security personnel occasionally carry firearms, but that Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten others on more than one occasion. When Combs' homes were raided, federal officers seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers. In addition to helping the facilitated freak-offs, which include hiring and booking travel for sex workers, arranging hotel rooms, and procuring supplies, Combs' employees, the indictment claims, were a crucial aspect in maintaining control over his victims. Prosecutors allege that Combs' employees would witness his violence towards his victims and not intervene. Rather, they would help conceal the violence and abuse by preventing victims from leaving the site at which they were been assaulted. These occasions include instances which a victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed, the indictment claims. Combs' employees also allegedly assisted him in locating and contacting victims who had attempted to escape his abuse. Wow. So, like I said, there's a lot to the story that goes beyond just the realm of what Sean Combs did to these people. And what's even more disturbing, as you're about to see throughout this, is how this was not really it was not in hiding. It was well aware that there was something going along with this. And people are now asking, rather than saying that, oh, we finally caught, now they're asking, why at this moment? Why now? Are they finally tracking down on Sean P. Diddy Combs and these freak-off parties? Why are they now putting this out to the public if the public already knew about this for many years and were silent about this? They weren't allowed to address this. They were, try to smear it as much as possible and censor people. As you just heard there, they try to keep people in hiding. So here is just an example of it. This is from 2002. So Sean P. Diddy Combs, when he went on to Conan O'Brien's show, when he was doing the late night show, talking about these parties. And like I said, this is well aware in Hollywood. This is well aware in the media, well aware. People knew about this, and they knew about these freak-offs. But yet somehow they did not go further into the investigation. So again, that's what makes people wonder why all of a sudden now they're worried about P. Diddy Combs and his actions throughout all this that they already knew about. Listen to this.
Okay, now we need alcohols, Right.
Alcohols.
Right. Not just one alcohol.
Alcohols.
Right. Just
Plurals.
different blend. You need the ladies. You need the booze.
You need some water.
For watering plants?
No. No, I don't know if guys have noticed this. Like, a lot of ladies drink water at parties. They just, you know, so if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave.
Right.
Got to keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but rock with me, but just check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Yeah.
Heat. You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, you know, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
That just sounds disgusting. What are you talking?
Depends on the way you look at it.
Depends. Oh, people start getting it gets kind of sexy. Is that what you're saying?
There you.
So you notice that Conan the Barbarian Brian, as he was interviewing him and hearing him speak about what he needs to set up these parties, like, he started off being actually concerned. And I'd be concerned in the fact that you went from talking about, oh, you just need some alcohol and drinks and people need beverages to, you know, sip on during the parties, to, yeah, we need locks. We need locks on the doors so they, you know, can't get out. What? What kind of party is this? What kind of, you know, celebratory event is this? Why would you need to lock the doors? And then he talks about, well, you need to crank the heat also. What? So that right there would be considered disturbing. That right there is something to keen in question. And this is well aware in Hollywood that these parties and people go to these with Sean Combs, and somehow it has locks, it has locked doors, and they have to crank the heat to make people comfortable. I don't suspect that that's going to be a civil party. I don't suspect that it's going to be, you know, a celebratory, you know, graduation or anniversary or like a get together with your family. No, that sounds kind of, you know, pervasive and kind of sexually explicit, and yeah. Now we kind of get where the freak off stuff comes from. So here's also in 2005, so just a couple years later, like I said, MTV did a commercial bragging about these freak off parties. These parties that people were sexually abused, assaulted, attacked, blackmailed, and engaged in violence. And a lot of this was minors. These were underage victims that were being abused by P. Diddy. And here's MTV, when they did their award show back in 2005, doing a commercial bragging about this. Not exposing him, not inviting him onto Chris Hansen, Dateline NBC to Catch a Predator, which it should have done. But here's them bragging about these parties as if this is a skit, as if this is some sort of, oh, well, everyone does it in Hollywood. You know, you don't want to be a square. Listen to this.
Call them modest get-togethers, others hedonistic romps. For the next 53 seconds, we'll take an in-depth look inside Diddy parties.
Diddy once threw a party on a jet flying around the world. Now, it started on a Tuesday and somehow ended on the previous Sunday. I don't know how he did that.
Now that I'm engaged, I've decided to slow down a little. 3 Diddy parties a week. Maybe 4. Well, not including the weekends.
Boy, I remember one day we went to this Diddy party.
Well, what happened?
Lil Jon forgot his pimp cup.
Yep.
D-Rock went to Diddy and asked if he had a pimp cup Lil Jon can borrow.
Man, he had a whole bunch of pimp cups.
He had a pimp set.
It's hard to say which is more off the hook, a Diddy party or a Diddy after party, or a Diddy after party, which is basically a pre-party for the next Diddy party.
The Diddy party legend continues tonight at 8 p.m. 7 Central.
So there's MTV NTV. And of course, don't actually mention what's in these parties, what actually goes on during the thing. They just say, oh, it's a good time. You get celebrities, and they last long. Huh. Not at all. Not at all in question. Not at all controversial. You go with P. Diddy Combs to a night party. Next thing you know, it lasts till the next Sunday. And you're flying around to places. Not at all concerning. Especially when you have young actors and actresses or musicians and even just randos from the streets. Not at all concerning that MTV has to make a spoof, a lighthearted joke about these Diddy parties. Not at all concerning, apparently, in this world. So now the question is, after everything's been released and the word is out, is what about Diddy's friends? What about his posse, his entourage? Because now we know that Sean P. Diddy Combs, had highly influential friends. He had friends in high places that were completely complacent and silent about this. And now they've gone to the further extent of being even more silent about this. Some of them even deleted their own social media accounts to hide away from this allegation. So the Daily Mail points out, what are Diddy's famous friends hiding? After Sean Combs' alleged violent freakout depravity was finally exposed, Jennifer Lopez, Jay-Z, and others are shamefully silent. That's damning. So this woman goes on to say, where's the righteous celebrity outrage, the moral indignation? It's been nearly 48 hours since Sean Diddy Combs was arrested and indicted on charges of sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Also alleged in the indictment is his staging of recurrent freak-offs in which his victims would be drugged and forced to have sex with for days on end, left with such severe injuries they need weeks to recover, crime stretching back to at least as 2009. But what do we hear from an industry that otherwise loves to preach about equity, fairness, inclusion, and the rights of safety of the marginalized and abused? An industry that so proudly pushes #MeToo? Nothing. A disgusting, disturbing, uniform silence. Recall the A-list celebrities who swiftly came forward or spoke out, and after now convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein was exposed, Angelina Jolie, Gwyneth Paltrow, Salma Hayek, Charlize Theron, Emma Thompson, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep. I can go on. Several of these women wrote op-eds in the New York Times. They valorized such activism. Nothing was Chisier, I don't know how to pronounce that, in 2018, then turning up to the Golden Globes dressed in black, expressly in solidarity with Weinstein's victims and sorrow for all the careers he vindictively killed, proclaiming that such systemic abuse would never be countenanced again. Outrage extended into boardrooms, politics, and fashion. Hillary Clinton, who took a lot of money from the disgraced movie mogul, issued a statement praising the victims who spoke up, writing that about their outrage and support of others is critical in helping to stop this kind of behavior. Well, if people know about Hillary Clinton, she has a private position and a public position. She feels bad for the victims, but in private, she's glad for the money. Disney CEO Bob Iger called Weinstein's actions apprehended and unacceptable with no place in today's society. Vogue editor Anna Wintour, appalling and unacceptable, she said. These are but a smattering of celebrity social justice warriors who, despite their formerly close ties to a decades-long known predator, felt they needed to speak out, perhaps in some cases, to save their own jobs and reputations. but who nonetheless made it clear that Weinstein was found guilty or not. Yet, when Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, whose music career Combs helped launch, bravely filed a civil suit against him last November, a suit that had may have pulled her own life at risk, almost no one stood for her. Among her allegations, relentless beatings, including one in January 2009 after Combs saw Ventura talking to a music manager at a party in LA, Combs became enraged. In the car leaving the club, Mr. Combs beat Miss Ventura, pushing her to a corner of the vehicle and stomping on her face. She was bleeding profusely and was ushered into Mr. Combs' home, where she began to throw up from violent assaults. Combs denied all of it until surveillance video of an attack in a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 was released last year. Cassie making her escape from what we know was a freak-off. Combs running after her dressed in nothing but a towel, grabbing her by the neck, throwing her to the floor, and kicking her while she was down over and over. This was he did in the public. Imagine the atrocities he would have been capable of in private. That was striking then. Nearly 1 year ago was the similar silence. Not one celebrity or colleague came forward to defend Combs, to insist that there was no way he could ever commit such savagery, that Ventura's details accusations had to be a money grab or revenge by a woman's scorn. One would safe to assume, as with the case with Weinstein, that people knew. Yet, look at the hip-hop icons and celebrity pals who are all too quiet. Jay-Z and Beyonce, Rihanna, New York City mayor and nightlife habiteur Eric Adams, who gave Combs a key to New York City last year, a key he revoked 3 weeks after the Cassie video came to light. Jennifer Lopez, who dated Combs in the 90s and was arrested with him in connection with the 1999 club shooting that left one victim with part of a bullet lodged in her face. She said nothing. His 50th birthday party in 2019, as were Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, Post Malone, Cardi B and Offset, Kevin Hart, Mary J. Blige, Pharrell, Kanye West, Naomi Campbell, Lil' Kim, Usher, The Weeknd, Janelle Monáe, Queen Latifah, and her America's own ambassador to the 2024 Paris Olympics, Snoop Dogg, as well as an apprehended Jay-Z and Beyonce. None of these people knew. Where was his pal, Oprah? So, this is where it really comes to play. This is really the spotlight to shine it all, to, again, remind people that this goes beyond just one individual. This goes just beyond the heinous acts that Sean Combs did to these people. And the fact that these people knew about this, they bragged about this, they all came together, they've all, heard about these raging P. Diddy parties, these freak-offs. Oh, it was so crazy, chaotic, and they would brag about it on radio shows like Howard Stern about going to these parties where there was drugs and alcohol and booze and abusing minors and this and that. It was just so crazy. They would brag about it openly on radio. But now when those allegations now come forward, and now the public is seeing firsthand how awful and disturbing these get-togethers are, everyone becomes silent. Everyone becomes silent. And I knew that the Me Too movement was a complete scam way before even this. Let's not forget that it died off the minute that Joe Biden and his former interns like Tara Reid came forward with abuse, came forward that Joe Biden, when he was a senator, when he had the interns working for him, Joe Biden abused people like Tara Reid. And the media not only went silent on that, but they attacked the victim. They attacked the victim because it was Joe Biden. The same thing that they did with Bill Clinton. The same thing they did with Harvey Weinstein. The same thing they do with their precious buddies and pals that give them power. It's all about access. And if you cut off the access, if you cut off that influential person, no matter how disgusting they are, these celebrities are going to say nothing because it's going to lose their ability to maintain on the top. And I knew this way before with those allegations, and I figured that there was going to be silence with P. Diddy Combs because of how influential he was for the music industry, how influential he is for the Hollywood media landscape. And he had a lot of friends. He had a lot of access. And when you hear about a certain associate or your friend or buddy in this limelight, you want to get away from it as soon as possible because you don't want your reputation to be associated with that. Even though people are well aware that you went to his parties, you are friends with him. Oprah interviewed this guy. He was on the late night talk shows. He used to hang out with all the other musicians. So, here to explain this even further is Andrew Tate. Now, Andrew Tate had allegations of sexual assault and abuse, which turned out to be a fabrication of the intelligence agencies because Andrew Tate was speaking out against the intelligence agencies. So they did a hit piece saying that he was in Romania and, you know, with underage girls and whatnot. They didn't find any evidence to back those claims. It was all trumped up trials. He's now since been released, and now he is going to express, now knowing about Sean Diddy Combs, he's now going to say exactly why they're releasing this information now and why celebrities are staying silent, even though we all know about this, even though we all knew for many years that this was going on in Hollywood. Listen to this.
The ability to speak freely is directly correlated with your insignificance. You're allowed to talk if nobody listens. If people start listening, you have to be very careful what you say. Now, if you're P. Diddy and you fuck people in the ass and you fuck underage kids and you do drugs and you do all this shit, that's fine as long as you comply with the system, comply with the matrix, understand who your owner is. He's obviously pissed one of them off because they're all doing it. And what happens is if you start to rebel a little bit or you get too big for your boots, then they teach you a lesson because every single person in the entertainment industry is owned. But if you're standalone like me and you refuse to bend or to bow or to go to these parties or to sign these sponsorship contracts or your soul, then they're going to hit you with lawfare like they did. They don't want you to be big unless you're owned so they can tell you what to say. I'm not owned, so I can say whatever the fuck I want, which is why they're trying to ruin my life. And guess what? I don't give a fuck.
No.
Put me in jail.
No, and do you know what?
I'm a fucking tough guy.
Yeah, no, and do you know what? I completely...
So, that's a big statement there. That's a big statement. That obviously there had to be some sort of incident where Sean Diddy Combs pissed off some wrong people and now it's being exposed. The same with Jeffrey Epstein. The same with other individuals. Because, as you said, everyone's well aware about this. Everyone knows so many people that are accused of the actions, the same actions that we call other people out. There's so many people that could be umbrellaed into this allegation. But the reason that it comes out, the reason why they're allowed to do it, or if they get, allegations out, is because whoever is in control of them, whoever is in control of their power, of their influence, of their celebrity status, because they also are committing the same crimes. But if you piss one of them off, if you do something wrong to them, they are going to do something wrong to you. They're going to do something wrong to Sean Diddy Combs. So, my only assumption is that the reason why this is being released in September 2024, knowing that we know as far back as the early 2000s that these parties were going on, is because he had a moment where he maybe got little too forward, a little too cocky with the owners, and the owners retaliated and exposed him. And maybe that's it. Because, let's face it, these allegations are not just one person. These allegations could be described across an industry, could be described across an agency, if you know what I mean. And you piss off the wrong person, or you do something wrong in the wrongdoing, a lot of things can happen to you. And that's why a lot of these celebrities are staying silent and going as far as deleting all their social media presence, because if they have any sort of significance of association with Diddy Combs or Weinstein or any other person, then they will be exposed. They don't want the exposure. They want to continue on their criminal activities while glamorizing, glorifying how great these industries are. And it's because the owners have control over it. The owners have say. The owners control the celebrities. And sometimes celebrities, you know, when you get famous and have fortune, sometimes you get a little big-headed. Sometimes you brag a little too much. And next thing you know, those people are going to come in and wreck you up. And that is what's happening, folks. That's what they did to Andrew Tate because he spoke out. That's what they did to Russell Brand because he spoke out. Not because he actually had the allegations, but because he spoke out against the people, the owners that are really in control of things. And you can't do that in this world. You can't do that in this world because they will target you and they will mess you up. So maybe Sean Diddy Combs did something wrong to the oligarchs. And that's why all this information that we're kind of aware of about way beforehand is finally being released. Now, finally, we're getting some justice. Because otherwise, they would just say it's, you know, Russian misinformation, or they'll try to shut down Cassie Ventura the same way they did with Tara Reid, the same thing they did with Monica Lewinsky, the same thing they did. They'll just shut her down or give them a book deal. You know, if you shut up for, you know, about this, then I'll give you a bunch of money. We'll make you famous too. Just shut up about our activities. Don't peek behind the curtain. So that's a bit of insight into P. Diddy and the alleged freak-offs. And like I said, there's a lot more to the story and a lot more people involved than what meets the eye.